Edwin Kwakofi has joined us on set to help the whole Ghana, including you, are watching us understand what actually happened. Edwin,
hello, Gabi.
How you doing?
It's good to be here.
Charlie, what do you have for us today?
Well, I'd like to talk to the goals Ghana conceded and also the goals Ghana scored.
Okay.
But before I do that, let's start with how Egypt approached the game and the strategy they employed. As Bernard said before I walked in here, anytime Ghana had the ball in their own half, Egypt set up in a 4-1-4-1 formation.
Okay.
What this does is it allows Mustafa Mohamed, who was leading the Egyptian line, never to be isolated because he always had 4 players behind him. The sole Egyptian defensive midfielder was Mohamed El Neni.
Okay.
Also, what that allows is that anytime that 4 behind Mustafa is bypassed, there's always protection in front of the back 4 with El Neni in that place. But anytime they had the ball, they transitioned into a 2-man defense with Hamdi and Kamal, who were the fullbacks, bombing forward and joining the attack.
Okay.
El Neni, who was the defensive midfielder, would drop in between the centre-backs, the 2 Egyptian centre-backs, and play sort of like a deep-lying playmaker, finding passes all the way to Mamouche. The strategy we thought Egypt were going to approach the game was to go at Salah, go for Salah all the time, which meant that Gideon Mensah would be under pressure.
Yeah.
What they did instead was target Dennis Odoi on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But the end result was always to get Salah into the game.
Okay.
So the plan was to find El Neni all the time, and then he would play the ball all the way to Mamouche on the Egyptian left-hand side. What that does was that it creates an overload on that side with the Egyptian left-back joining the attack, which meant that Odoi needed support most of the time from both Salis Samed on that side and Alexander Djiku to support him. The strategy from Egypt didn't work too well because, first of all, a lot of the passes weren't finding their targets. Second of all, Salis and Djiku were performing really, really well in covering for Dennis Odoi, who at times was found wanting in his positioning.
Okay.
The Egyptians wanted Djiku to shift over to that side, which meant Salisu would shift over to cover him.
Yeah. So then he leaves more spaces.
Gideon Mensah isolated with Salah. They never really managed to do that. And anytime they tried to switch over to the left-hand side where Gideon Mensah was operating, Mensah dealt really well with the aerial balls and had a lot of support from both Ashimeru and Jordan Ayew, which was very key. On that side, Iñaki did not do too much running back. I think he was very ineffective for the first goal, for a lot of that first half. He didn't help out Dennis Odoi a lot on that side, which meant Odoi was a little exposed, which meant Salis and Djiku had to move over to that side. But they were very effective in that duty. For the Black Stars, I think they came into the idea, the technical team told them that if you can't make the pass forward, if you feel troubled, always try to find the easiest option by passing back to the defense or passing back to the goalkeeper. And in several instances in the midfield, you found Salis and Ashimeru, most often Salis, whenever he won the ball, whenever he got the ball, he was hesitant in making the forward pass. Because he didn't want the risk of losing it to that front 4 behind Mustafa Mohamed and risk a counter-attack going the other way. So we saw that with a number of Ghana's midfielders. The passes were there to be made, but they weren't going forward. So now let's take a look at this first goal for the Black Stars.
So that's Kudu's first hit.
Kudu's first goal for the Black Stars. Over here, Jordan Ayew on the left-hand side. And we always have a problem with Ayew holding on to the ball for too long. But in this case, you have to understand him. If he looks up, the only player he can see right here
it's just Semenyo in the box.
Semenyo in the box.
Okay.
Iñaki is making a run, but he's not getting there early enough. So there's no chance for him to put the ball into the box. So he keeps hold of it, draws players to him. What we should be seeing is the left back, Gideon Mensah, making a long busting run to join him in attack, to offer an option not just for the pass, but to take attention, a little attention away from Jordan Ayew. This, unfortunately, did not happen, leading to Jordan Ayew keeping hold onto the ball and eventually losing it for a second.
Yeah.
But what he does well is to not give up. He wins the ball back, and it ends up with Salis.
Okay.
It ends up with Salis over here. The important thing to note here is that when you have a key player, when you're a star player, you know where to move and the right times to move into position. Look at Kudus's movement. He could have stayed in a penalty box.
Okay.
However, he noticed the extraordinary space here where he could take advantage of with Salis on the ball. And he decided to move into that space, allowing Salis an option for the pass. Once Kudus gets the ball here, this is all about skill. This is all about talent. Because you have three Egyptian players around him right here. Any of them could have got the ball. But the boy has immense talent. We have to talk about that. He's able to beat that press, get into a position, doesn't need any options, even though he has over here, he has Semenyo, he could put the ball into.
And Jordan
Ayew as an option as well. But he knew his talent. He knew that once he gets a shot in on goal, there's a likelihood of him scoring. He takes the shot, and obviously the Black Stars have
bang, first goal for Ghana. And somebody will say, because he's perfected this, because we've seen him do this a lot of times at his club side, West Ham United. When his moments in which he's got the ball around the D, that's where he had to move out of the penalty box and just get the ball around the D there. Anytime, it's just one thing on his mind, to hit it. And he's perfected that well so clean. And I mean, that was a really good hit from Mohamed Kudus. I mean, Bernard, quick thoughts on that?
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, for every negative of a player, there's a bit of positiveness attached to it. I talk about, and I see, Citi smiles to that. It is with Jordan Ayew and how he held on to that ball for long. And you realize that he needed support. He was not getting that support he wanted. The numbers in the penalty area was not enough for him to get any connection. Even if he should play the ball across the face of goal, the Egyptians were always winning that. So what he wanted to do was just pause on the ball a bit and try to see who was coming. That was when he lost the ball. And then again, the Jordan we know would have relaxed and not followed up on that ball, but he tried to put a bit of pressure on.
He didn't give up.
He did not give
Came
up.
back here,
and then
because the ball took a slight touch off him.
Absolutely.
And then went to Salis.
And Salis was smarter. Other players would have gone into would have kicked the ball into the penalty area,
into the box.
Into the box. He also realized that no. That is quick thinking. He observed, he scanned. In football, we say scanning, because the moment you get the ball, even before getting the ball, you need to look up your shoulder and see who is coming. If you are in a free zone and you are alone, then you scan, because split decision taken. Then you look into the penalty area. He realized that there was a player who was, coming out of the area to probably maybe pick the ball, and then I'm not sure he thought Mo will shoot from that range. He was maybe thinking he will receive the ball and get it to
probably pass it.
Pass it to.
Okay, hold on your thoughts.
Jordan.
Edwin, just run us through the equalizer from the Egyptians.
The equalizer from the Egyptians, and I'd like to point out two errors from Ghanaian players. First of all, Jordan Ayew. In this position right here.
So it's now Jordan.
Yes,
Jordan now the bad.
You see, as a player, you need to know when to pass the ball, when to hold on to it, when to shoot and all that. Jordan Ayew, I was praising him a few seconds ago for holding on to the ball and making the most of his move. In this position here, there's no danger for the Black Stars. He has so many options. He can go here. He can go here, right here. He can even, he can clear the ball out if he wanted to. He can go long to Iñaki. He can find a immediate pass to Kudus. There are several options for him to
So he's got what? 1, 2, because I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 players around him.
He's got 4 players around him. So one pass forward takes out these 4 players. Immediately creates a chance for Ghana to attack. A pass to Kudus is the best option at the moment. One pass here, and Kudus is on his back going forward. What he decides to do is to hold on to it for far too long. He loses possession. And then Egypt tried to play the ball forward. They lose the ball. A good tackle there. But then it ends up with Iñaki Williams.
And so 2 players Just behind Inaki Williams.
2 players behind Inaki Williams.
Yeah. But, I mean, Edwin, somebody say he's got so much time and space to think.
So much time and space to think. First of all, an easy pass. If he actually wanted to make the pass, an easy pass here, a small pass to Dennis Odoi. There's no pressure on him.
Okay.
He could also decide to hold on to the ball for a little bit and give the players time to move into a few positions. And as a striker, one of your jobs is to hold on to the ball. But for 2 players on him, that might have been risky. The best option, one of the best options in my opinion, kick the ball out of play.
Kick the ball out of play.
When in doubt, kick it out. That is a mantra all footballers should abide by. When in doubt, kick it out. He has 2 players on him. There's a player running towards the goal, which means that any pass towards the goal could be intercepted. So your best option is to kick it out. Maybe he got a shout from Richard Ofori, and that is why he decided to kick it to the back. And I told you about my impressions about the technical team, telling them don't take any unnecessary risks. If you get into a situation where you need an outlet, pass it to the defender or pass it to the goalkeeper. And he decided to go for the option of passing to Richard Ofori. And that was a weak pass from Iñaki, disappointing.
I think he hit
it
deserves
a lot of the blame for that. With his left foot. He could have put a little bit more on that. It left Richard Ofori stranded and unable to get into any decent position to prevent that goal. I don't think you can blame Richard Ofori for that. I've seen some people trying to blame Richard Ofori. But if you receive a pass like that, your instinct is that you need to get to the ball as quickly as possible or make the angle smaller for the attacker so that he doesn't get a good shot on goal. And unfortunately, he couldn't get there in time.
Okay. Quickly run us through Kudus' second goal. And then we'll finally look at the other second goal from the Egyptians.
Kudus' second goal. I think, again, we talk about how systems are in place for attacks and teams put in strategies for attacks.
Okay.
But there are moments where the player's quality just tells. And there are moments where, as a forward, you don't care about any passing, you just take a shot. Because you could get a deflection that will take it into goal. You might get a rebound from the goalkeeper's save, and you can get a better shot out of there. First of all, look at Dennis Odoi. We often criticize him for his inability to join the attack on a frequent basis and putting in crosses. What he does here is that he dummies the cross.
Okay.
And this is a smart play. Instead of putting the ball into the box just like that, he sees Kudus out of his peripheral vision is fantastic, by the way. He sees Kudus out of the side of his eye and puts in a very good pass to Kudus, which takes out these 2 defenders and leaves Kudus with some space to operate in. And once Kudus has so much space, I think this player did extraordinarily well to get into a defensive position to cover Kudus.
Okay.
It's just that the distance he covered was too far for him to get there on time. But in such a position, other players might have looked to find people in the box. Kudus, knowing his ability, knowing what he can deliver, he decided to take a shot. And fortunately for him, he got the deflection that took it past El Shenawi for the Black Stars goal. So this is a pretty straightforward goal. It's just about the quality of the player himself. Okay. And of course, the cleverness or the smartness of Dennis Odoi to find him in such a position.
And then the final moment.
And yes, of course, there's been a lot of talk about this moment here. First of all, I've got to say this doesn't seem to be any danger right from the start here. Everybody has their players covered. He's got him covered. He's got him covered. Bukhari has a tight hold on his marker here. So there doesn't seem to be any danger from the off. When that happens, you get into a position where Bukhari wins the ball. He's won the ball. He's in a position. I think the initial mistake from Iñaki might have contributed to what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
A pass is on right back to the goalkeeper. A simple pass is on right back to the goalkeeper. If he faces any doubt, he kicks it out for a corner. There's no problem about conceding a corner in that position. You allow your team to regroup, reset for the corner, and defend it as they can. If you concede from the corner, you know that it's because of your set-piece deficiencies, not because of your personal mistake. Yeah. And I think he held on to the ball for way too long, allowed himself to be swamped by the Egyptian players, and then Egypt scored. But I would like us to take a look at the marking from our centre-backs. I think Salisu, who is in a perfect position, should be keeping more of an eye on.
Okay, and Mustafa
Mohammed. He should be keeping more of an eye on him. Should be keeping him from getting a clear run of goal. And instead of focusing on the person who is crossing the ball, there are already 1, 2, 3 players focused on that. He should be looking, scanning around and making sure there's no one who is available to intercept. You look at Gideon Mensah over here, who has his marker down pat. He's close to his marker, preventing him from getting any sort of run-up into the goal. And obviously the Black Stars conceded a really silly goal from that. I'd like to make a point here about Osman Bukhari.
All right. About Houghton's decision to take him off?
No, about the player himself.
Okay.
I think that he's a very talented player. Talented players all over the world make mistakes. And we've lost a lot of talent because we are unable to forgive and allow them to progress. As Amajan's penalty taking abilities were taken away for a bit. We lost Sami Osei-Kufo, one of our better players, because of that. And we've lost a number of players because they've either missed penalties, given away goals. And Bukhari is too talented a player to let go because of a mistake like this. I feel he's part of the next generation, which obviously will be led by Kudus Mohammed, but he needs to be giving the support he needs to get back into his team. If there are team psychologists, you work on him. His teammates need to work on him. I think the fans, the Ghanaian fans, are a huge part of that as well.